Welcome to the Deep Dive, the show where we distill complex topics into the essential insights you need to get smart, fast. We know your time is valuable, and you're looking to grasp big ideas quickly, so we've done the heavy lifting for you. Today, we're taking a deep dive into a truly transformative force, something that's changing how businesses operate. We're talking about generative AI, not just as a buzzword, but as a practical, hands-on tool that, you can actually leverage. Our core source material for this is a really fascinating article from the Harvard Business Review. It's titled, "The Secret to Successful AI-Driven Process Redesign." So our mission, basically give you a shortcut, unpack the core arguments, the surprising facts, the real-world applications in this piece. And what's really interesting is how this article builds on a concept that's, it's been around for decades, a philosophy called Kaizen. Can you maybe set the stage for us on what Kaizen is all about?
Absolutely. It's fascinating, really. Kaizen is this Japanese principle of continuous improvement. It was pioneered by an engineer, Taiichi Ohno, at Toyota way back in the late 1940s. And the key thing is, it wasn't about these huge, risky overhauls. It was about constant, small enhancements. And crucially, the suggestions came from employees at all levels, right from the manufacturing floor.
Yeah.
This kind of grassroots approach led to some really groundbreaking concepts we still use today. Things like worker empowerment, continuous cost reduction, total quality management, just-in-time manufacturing, root cause analysis, data-driven processes, and even something they called automation with a human touch, or jidoka. It's all about this relentless pursuit of just getting better bit by bit.
It's pretty remarkable, isn't it, that a philosophy from the 40s is so relevant now. So that really brings us to the central question for this deep dive. How is this decades-old, incredibly successful philosophy getting this powerful modern upgrade with generative AI? What does Kaizen 2.0 actually look like in practice? And how's it changing the everyday work experience? Let's maybe start with how Gen AI acts as this modern boost for Kaizen. The article makes a strong point about its natural language interfaces. How exactly has Gen AI broken down those traditional barriers, made advanced tech truly accessible to, say, someone on the shop floor, not just the specialists?
That's a really critical point, because with natural language, Gen AI essentially democratizes access, makes powerful technology usable for almost anyone. It means non-technical employees can now interact with and actually leverage these advanced tools. And Gen AI is capable of synthesizing all sorts of data, even unstructured data, which used to be incredibly hard to make sense of. It takes these huge, messy piles of information and turns them into insight-driven workflow improvements. And that leads directly to, better performance, less waste, higher quality. But here's the crucial part, and it counters some fears about AI. Kaizen 2.0 actually puts humans right at the center of these new machine-assisted processes. It sort of delivers on that old management theory dream, putting business transformation into the hands of all employees.
That sounds incredibly powerful. Almost too good to be true, maybe. The article does give an important warning, though. It says redesigning processes isn't as simple as just, asking ChatGPT to audit your workflows. So what are some of the strategic things leaders need to think about, or maybe pitfalls they should avoid when trying this Kaizen 2.0 approach?
Yeah, it's definitely not a magic bullet. Leaders have got to be strategic. They need to identify which processes are genuinely ready for this kind of algorithm-powered redesign. And crucially, they need to understand how other companies are actually applying Gen AI in the real world. Learn from those examples. But the core message, the article really hammers this home, is that humans remain the linchpin behind Gen AI's success in improving business processes. It's not a set it and forget it kind of tech. It needs continuous human guidance, human iteration.
Right. That makes sense. Speaking of real-world applications, let's explore how Gen AI is boosting that employee empowerment idea across different industries. Mercedes-Benz seems like a really compelling example here.
Oh, definitely. At Mercedes-Benz, they've rolled out something called the MO360 data platform. Essentially, it connects all their passenger car plants globally to the cloud. This gives them much better transparency and predictability across their whole production and supply chain. Jan Brecht, who was the CIO there, actually said, "Data is becoming everyone's business at Mercedes-Benz." He mentioned colleagues on the shop floor having access to real-time production and management data, using dashboards, making data-based decisions.
And this is where that Kaizen link really clicks, isn't it? Production employees can just use everyday language prompts, not complicated database queries, to ask about bottlenecks or find ways to streamline things. And then they get data-rich insights back from the AI. So it's not replacing their expertise, right?
Yes.
It's amplifying their experience, their observations, their creativity, makes them better at spotting and fixing problems. They even have this program, Turn to Learn, run by HR. It gives frontline staff access to like 40,000 courses on data and AI. Includes practical stuff like prompt engineering and natural language processing skills.
That's right. And it's not just the shop floor. Their software developers are using AI too. They use GitHub Copilot, that's an AI assistant, which turns natural language prompts into code suggestions. So it frees them up from some of the routine coding to focus on more complex process issues, integrating software development better across the whole company, accelerating their own Kaizen in the code itself.
Okay, so this empowerment theme, it clearly goes beyond just Mercedes. We see it at Mahindra and Mahindra, another automaker.
Yeah.
Their production teams send queries to Gen AI virtual assistants for step-by-step repair instructions for industrial robot.
Exactly. And it might sound simple, but it has this really powerful ripple effect. It helps them fix technical issues super quickly, cuts down machine downtime, keeps production running smoothly. Bhuwan Lodha, who heads up AI at Mahindra Group, actually pointed out that this tech has significantly boosted shop floor morale. It really delivers on that worker fulfillment part of Kaizen by giving employees the tools they need to solve problems right then and there.
Okay, let's shift gears from manufacturing to the lab. Gen AI seems to be making equally huge changes in pharma, especially around scientific processes. Using synthetic data to cut waste and speed up analysis seems key. Let's look at drug inspection at Merck.
Yeah, the problem they had was with automated visual systems checking for product defects. These systems often generated false rejects, basically flagging good products as defective. This slows things down, costs money for rechecks, and the root issue is that these systems need tons of training images to learn what a defect looks like. But for complex, rare defects, you just don't have many real images.
So Merck's solution was pretty clever. They used generative AI approaches, things like generative adversarial networks, GANs, and variational autoencoders to create synthetic defect images. Maybe just quickly, for listeners not deep into AI, what makes these generative networks like GANs so good at creating data seemingly out of nothing?
Sure. Think of it like two AIs playing a game. One's an artist trying to paint a fake, realistic defect image. The other's a detective trying to figure out if it's fake or real. They learn from each other constantly, pushing each other to improve. Eventually, the artist gets so good that its fake images are basically indistinguishable from real ones. This gives Merck an endless supply of training data for those rare defects, essentially creating realistic images where none existed before.
Wow, okay. And the result?
Pretty impressive.
Yeah.
According to Nitin Kaul there, the Associate Director of IT Architecture, this Gen AI system helped Merck cut overall false rejects by more than 50% across different product lines, a huge process optimization. And then in drug discovery itself, you have companies like Absci. They're using something called zero-shot generative AI to create and validate brand new therapeutic antibodies entirely on a computer. And the zero-shot part means it does this with no training data on known antibodies that bind to the target. The AI designs them from scratch for a specific job.
That sounds like a massive leap.
Oh, it is. The time savings are potentially monumental. It could slash the time to get new biologics into clinical trials from maybe 6 years down to just 18 months. And it also seems to increase the probability of success. It's like Kaizen tackling a whole new kind of waste, the waste of time, the waste of effort, even the waste of things previously thought impossible.
Okay, let's pivot again. How is Gen AI augmenting creative processes? This might sound a bit counterintuitive, but it seems really powerful, especially in consumer products and design.
Yeah, several big consumer products companies are already using AI to kind of spark human creativity. Colgate-Palmolive, for instance, uses Gen AI to speed up finding new product formulations. And you hear reports about Nestle, Campbell's, PepsiCo using Gen AI platforms to validate new product ideas, do market research faster.
And look at Coca-Cola experimenting with a platform combining GPT-4 for language and Dale for images. It lets their digital artists pull in branded elements from Coke's history and then create totally original artwork for billboards and things. It's not replacing the artists. It's like giving them supercharged tools to iterate and explore ideas way faster than before.
Definitely. And beyond just marketing, Gen AI is speeding up and changing product and component design itself. It can generate 3D models, suggest design tweaks, recommend materials, help optimize for cost, create digital prototypes super fast, even flag which ideas look most promising. You really see AI influencing industrial design now.
There's a fantastic specific example of this from Ryan McClellan, a research engineer at NASA Goddard. He basically reinvented how they design these specialized one-off parts for space instruments. Things for missions like Mars sample return, where the standards are incredibly high.
Right. So McClellan's new process works like this. A human designer lays out the basic requirements, like where the part needs to connect, or if any laser beams have to pass through. Then, the AI generates these really complex, often organic-looking structure designs in maybe just 1 or 2 hours.
Compared to months previously, right?
Exactly. Months down to hours.
And the results. The AI design parts are 2/3 lighter and 10 times less prone to stress compared to the old way of designing them. But here's the crucial bit. It's not just AI running wild.
No, McClellan himself really emphasized the human role. He says, and I'm quoting roughly here, the algorithms need a human eye. Human intuition knows what looks right. He points out that left alone, the algorithm might make structures too thin, optimizing purely for physics without considering practicality or even aesthetics.
So it's a true collaboration. Human expertise guiding the AI's raw power.
Precisely.
Okay, next up. Animating physical operations. How is Gen AI changing how we interact with complex physical systems? Think of warehouse robots, even the human body, hospitals.
Well, there's a company in Stuttgart, Seriact. They provide AI software for warehouse automation. They've developed something called Pick GPT. It's apparently the first commercial solution using transformer tech like ChatGPT uses to let robots understand natural language for pick and pack tasks. And those tasks make up something like 55% of warehouse costs, so optimizing there is huge.
And the breakthrough is that human operators can just type commands, like chatting with the robot system.
Yeah, basically. They type text commands into a chat interface to direct the robots or even debug problems. This makes it accessible to folks without deep technical training. The CEO, Ralph Gould, calls it the world's most accessible way of interacting with robots. Big simplification for training and use.
Interesting. And you mentioned digital twins earlier. How does Gen AI connect there?
Right, so digital twins are these super accurate virtual models of complex things, jet engines, factories, even human hearts. They simulate how the real thing works, letting you troubleshoot or test scenarios remotely, often before a problem even occurs.
And this is big in healthcare.
Huge. Something like 90% of top drug and healthcare labs are already using them for things like preclinical drug development. There's a company, Atlas MedTech, with a platform letting surgeons practice on a virtual brain perfectly matched to the actual patient before surgery.
Wow.
And beyond surgery, people are building digital twins of entire hospitals. They use them for day-to-day decisions, staffing, bed management, but also to stress test the hospital against future crises, like a mass casualty event. Researchers even see them being used for precision medicine, diagnosing diseases earlier, predicting individual health outcomes.
So where does Gen AI fit into these digital twins?
Well, Gen AI is turbocharging their capabilities. For example, adding natural language interfaces. This means way more healthcare workers, not just specialists, can interact with these powerful models, adapt processes, respond to changing needs almost instantly. It's a massive step for continuous improvement, for Kaizen, in a really complex and dynamic field like healthcare.
Okay, now we get to what the article calls the next level of Kaizen, the rise of autonomous agents. These aren't just advising anymore. They're making decisions, taking actions, improving processes on their own.
Exactly. It's a significant shift. There's a fascinating real-world example from DonutPay, that company helping consumers save money. Their CEO used an agent integrating GPT-4 and AutoGPT and gave it a simple but complex command, find me money.
Okay, what happened?
The agent went to work. It found $81 in unnecessary subscriptions, flagged an odd $37 in-flight Wi-Fi charge. Then it offered to cancel the subscriptions, drafted a letter to contest the Wi-Fi fee, and even negotiated a 20% discount on the CEO's cable and internet bill.
All by itself.
All autonomously. It shows how these agents can tackle multi-step problems without constant hand-holding. And this really highlights the difference from traditional software. Old software follows rigid, rule-based instructions, predictable but inflexible, lacks nuance. AI agents built on these powerful large language models and multimodal foundation models.
Right, the ones trained on text, code, images, video, all sorts.
Exactly. Those models make agents dynamic, adaptable. They understand natural language prompts. They can combine different types of information to reason and act in sophisticated ways.
The article draws some interesting parallels between these agents and human workers in a Kaizen setting. 3 similarities.
Yeah. First is goal-oriented behavior. Humans set the high-level goal, but the agent figures out how to achieve it independently, adapting its strategy if needed.
Okay, makes sense.
Second, logical reasoning and planning. They can analyze their situation, break down complex tasks into smaller steps, and figure out the best sequence to reach the goal, much like a human problem solver.
And third.
Long-term memory and reflection. They learn from past interactions, remember context, and use that experience to improve their performance over time. It's that continuous learning loop, very Kaizen-like.
Are companies actually using these autonomous agents already?
Oh yes, many are deploying them with varying degrees of autonomy. Walmart uses them for inventory management, Marriott for booking processes, Nestlé for supply chain improvements. ADT is building one to help customers choose and set up security systems. Toyota's working on robot agents for caregiving or factory work. Even JP Chase is developing agents for complex financial tasks.
Yeah, and there are platforms to build these now.
Definitely. A whole ecosystem is growing. You've got Microsoft's AutoGen, AWS's Amazon Q, Google's Vertex AI Agent Builder, OpenAI's Assistance API, plus more specialized ones like Salesforce's Agentforce, which they describe as a fully autonomous customer service agent, handles interactions without needing human oversight.
So if one agent can do all that, what about getting multiple agents to work together on really complex stuff? Is that happening?
Yes, and that's a crucial next step. For really complex tasks, you often need an ecosystem of specialized agents that communicate and collaborate. Think about mortgage underwriting, for example. A human might just say, review this loan application. Then an agent ecosystem kicked in. One agent extracts the key info, another acts like a policy expert, checking rules, a third compares everything and generates a report, and maybe a connector agent oversees the whole workflow, passing tasks between the specialists.
So multiple AI minds working together.
Exactly. And the article stresses that this collaboration between agents is key for AI to autonomously manage entire end-to-end processes. This opens the door for continuous improvement for Kaizen on a massive scale across whole departments or functions, streamlining things in ways we couldn't really imagine before.
Wow. Are there examples of this kind of agent collaboration being tested?
Yeah, there was a really interesting experiment by Google and Stanford researchers back in 2023. They created 25 digital avatars in a simulated online town. Each avatar had its own personality, backstory, memory. These avatars interacted, formed relationships, made plans, all based on their own experiences within the simulation with no direct human control. It showed how agents could learn from each other and collectively figure out better ways of doing things, even in complex social settings.
That's fascinating. And there was other Stanford research comparing human-agent collaboration to standard robotic process automation, RPA.
Yes, very recent research. It found that this human-agent team-up is much more promising for automating complex workflows than traditional RPA. RPA is powerful for repetitive tasks, but it's rigid. If anything changes slightly, it often breaks down and needs reprogramming.
Yeah.
This study used a multimodal foundation model again, trained on diverse data types. It learned how to do tasks just by watching human video demonstrations and reading procedure documents. This drastically cuts down the setup costs compared to typical automation projects. They tested it on two really complex workflows: hospital revenue cycle management and B2B invoice processing, stuff that usually requires a lot of human knowledge work.
And how did it do?
The results were pretty striking. The model figured out all the necessary steps with 93% accuracy. It could formulate plans, monitor its own work, correct errors, and it correctly identified when the workflow was complete with 90% precision and 84% recall. This suggests it could automate whole new classes of complex, knowledge-heavy workflows that RPA just couldn't handle.
Okay, but what about the human role? Did the AI just take over?
No, and this is the crucial finding, circling back to our main theme. The researchers found that human integration was critical for success. Humans were needed to make sure the AI stayed aligned with the overall goals, to fine-tune the models so they interacted well with people, and crucially, to provide ongoing training and feedback to the agents. It really reinforces that it's about collaboration, not replacement.
Okay, so let's bring this all together. What does this mean for you listening right now? Whether you're leading a team, building something new, or just working in today's world, it loops back to that core message, right? AI agents are getting incredibly capable, increasingly autonomous.
Right.
But humans are definitely not out of the picture.
Not at all. That's the article's central conclusion. Success with AI depends just as much on people as it does on the tech itself. It's this continuous feedback loop. The agents learn and improve from experience, constantly getting better, and humans continually refine the agent's design, guide their performance, set their goals.
So the really profound message seems to be, when you empower both your employees and your AI agents, you get continuous improvements flowing from both sides of that human-machine partnership. Processes can stay fundamentally human-centered, even as the machines get more autonomous. It's Kaizen for the AI age, really, using collaboration with AI to unlock new levels of efficiency, innovation.
Exactly. And maybe here's a final thought to leave you with. Considering how these AI agents learn from experience, how they adapt their own strategies to meet goals, how might we as humans need to adapt? How do our own roles and skills need to change so we can effectively guide and collaborate with these continuously improving intelligent systems? What new kinds of human intuition, oversight, and partnership skills will be most valuable in a future increasingly shaped by these autonomous agents?